Hello guys, hope you're doing well as always and welcome back to another Premier League predictions video. Another exciting game week has just been and gone, but there's very little rest for these players and for me. So without further ado, let's get into your predictions from last week. Farah Tablet, thank you very much for commenting again, mate, and well done. You got yourself 18 points. Anything over 15 points is very, very good. So to get yourself 18 points is very impressive. However, it wasn't enough to get you more than your 20 points, which is your highest score at the moment and the one that counts on the leaderboard. Finn as well, thank you very much for commenting. This is the first time that you've commented that is actually counted for the leaderboard. So thank you very much for doing so, mate. And you put yourself in a very good position. You got yourself 21 points, which is fantastic. 20 points and over, you're smashing it. No one actually managed to get any 5-pointers, including myself, but you guys both did very, very well. So thank you very much for commenting, and let's have a look at what that means for the leaderboard. Finn, your debut in the leaderboard is in joint third place, again with 21 points, which is fantastic. First go, you've made it in the top 3 and not far behind Alex Nicholson. Guys, honestly, it's going to be difficult, but just one game week is all it takes to get you top of the leaderboard and in contention for a prize at the end of the season. So make sure that you comment your predictions down below to be in with a chance for winning the prize. Honestly, I still haven't thought of a prize, but there will be one. There will be some clarity on what that prize is. I've been quite busy of late, but let's not dwell on that too much. And let's get into my predictions from last week. So I got 15 points, which is okay. It's scraping the barrel of being a decent week, but by my standards and how well I did last week, I want to be doing better than that. I want to be getting some 5-pointers. But last game week had quite a lot of curveballs in it. The Burnley West Ham result being the most significant of those curveballs. I think most people would have expected West Ham to win that game fairly comfortably, and they didn't. They ended up being held to a draw despite being the better side. Anyway guys, there's plenty of room for improvement in this week's fixtures, so let's get into my predictions. First up, we got a very exciting fixture. It is Brentford at home to Manchester United. Manchester United, since sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, have been unbeaten, which is a record that they're only going to want to be improving on, and away from home against Brentford, it's a fairly good opportunity for them to do so. However, Brentford do pose a lot of threat to the opposition. Brentford have only lost once in the last 5 games, which is a great record considering once again it is their first season in the Premier League. That loss was to Tottenham, and since then they've been very, very decent. The 2-2 draw away from home against Leeds, and obviously that crucial 2-1 victory against Watford. And it's a great result because they're two very evenly matched sides. Focusing more specifically on this fixture though, and as I said, I do think it's going to be a very close game. Cristiano Ronaldo managed to save Manchester United from the penalty spot in their last game, and also in a game that they really should have been smashing the opposition in. I mean, I predicted 6-0, which wasn't the best prediction in hindsight, but you would have expected them to get at least 3 goals in that fixture. I think if they continue to struggle for goals, especially in this fixture, they could potentially be punished. I don't think that they are going to lose this game, but I feel like they might drop points. So for that reason, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this game. I'm sticking my neck on the line from the off, and I am going to go for a draw. Up next, a slightly later kickoff on the Tuesday. There were some weird kickoff times, by the way, but we've got Norwich at home to Aston Villa. Norwich did very well to only lose 1-0 against Manchester United in their last game. However, they weren't that threatening throughout. It was more so a case of just boring football from Manchester United, not really creating anything. Neither side really managed to break through the other team's defence that much and that clinically, and Norwich are going to have to try and improve that if they want to stay in the Premier League, which is already looking very, very slim. Villa, on the other hand, have had a very good start under their new manager, Steven Gerrard, only losing 2 games since he took over by 1 goal in each fixture against Liverpool and Manchester City, which are 2 very respectable results considering as they are 2 of the best teams in Europe at the moment. And the fact that they were both only 1 goal deficits is real credit to how well set up they are defensively at the moment, especially when you think of the attacking qualities both teams have. I think that defensive stability is really going to be difficult for Norwich to break down, and they're already struggling to break defenses down in the Premier League. So coming up against one of the best at the moment is going to be very, very difficult for them, and that is why I think that Aston Villa will win this game very comfortably. I think they're going to win this one 2-0. I don't think it's going to be massive because I do think that Villa still have a bit of work to do going forward especially, but once again Gerrard has massively sorted them out at the back, and with how poor that Norwich have been in breaking down defences, I can't see them conceding, and I do think it is going to be 2-0. Up next, we've got Manchester City at home to Leeds United, and this is going to be a great game. Last season, Leeds didn't lose to Manchester City, winning 1 and drawing the other game, and will this be the case for this fixture? It's tricky to say for sure because Leeds did play very well against Chelsea, a game that was decided by 2 Jorginho penalties, which, you know, you could argue is very hard done by for Leeds. However, I don't expect to see any chances like that being given away by this shrewd Manchester City defence. They are on fire at the moment, and don't let the fact that they only beat Wolves 1-0 in their last game distract you from how great this Manchester City team are. Leeds once again are struggling with injuries, and it's been the story of their season so far. They just haven't had their full 11 fit, and their results on the pitch have been really suffering as a result of that. And unfortunately, I think there's going to be more suffer in this game and more pressure on Marcelo Bielsa. I think that Manchester City are going to win this one 3-1. I think they're going to be be ruthless. I think there's potential for Leeds to get a goal, but ultimately, I don't know. It's tricky with Leeds at the moment because it just depends, you know, what players actually turn up on the day, how they play on the day. But I don't think you can look beyond Manchester City for this fixture, and I do think they're going to win this one fairly comfortably. Up next, we got a mid-table battle between Brighton and Hove Albion and Wolverhampton Wanderers, 11th against 9th. And two teams that in their last few games have been really struggling. Both sides haven't won a game in their last 4 games. 3 draws and 1 loss for Brighton, 2 losses and 2 draws for Wolves. And all in all, disappointing results for these two sides in their recent fixtures. Despite 7 goals between Wolves' main 2 strikers and 6 goals from Morpay, I don't think that there's going to be a lot of goals in this fixture. You can't even really rule out a 0-0 in this game. I don't think it's going to be particularly exciting. I don't think there's going to be a lot for me to talk about for this game prediction. So I'll keep it short and sweet, and I'm going to say that my score prediction is going to be a very narrow 1-0, potentially shock win for Brighton. I believe that they're going to come good at one point, and it just takes one of their many chances to go in and a great solid defensive display for them to take the 3 points in this game. It's going to be a case of whoever gets that first goal who takes the 3 points, in my opinion. Up next, we've got a relegation 6-pointer. It's 18th against 17th. It's Burnley against Watford. Only 1 win for Burnley this season. Watford, on the other hand, producing 4 wins this season, which is very impressive by their standards and slightly hard done by with where they are on the table based on their performances. Burnley, on the other hand, have been sort of typical Burnley, really. They've been good at the back, a little more adventurous in some games going forward, but ultimately lacking that great fluid football that we see in a lot of other sides and that is so effective for those teams. On the other hand, though, Burnley did manage to hold West Ham to a 0-0 draw in their last game, which was a very impressive result. And Burnley have actually got the joint most amount of draws in the Premier League this season, with Brighton on 8 out of the games that they've played so far. That's over half of their games being draws. I'm expecting to see goals in this game from Watford. Despite how good Burnley are at the back, I do just think that this is going to be one of those games where they really turn it on, and they turn it on when it matters as well. Because as I've already said, this is a massive game, a relegation 6-pointer, and whoever wins this fixture is really going to hold them in good stead for the end of the season. I do think the Watford are going to snatch this one. It's going to be quite narrow, but I do think the Watford will nick this game 2-1. Next up, the game that we're going to be focusing on is Crystal Palace at home to Southampton. Southampton's recent form has been absolutely abysmal. They haven't won in their last 5 games, losing 3 of them. In fairness to Southampton, the last 4 games have been tricky fixtures, but that 2-1 loss away against Norwich is really a game that they should have been winning, and one that will probably hurt them at the end of the season. Southampton are one of my favourites to go down at the end of the season, and at this point it's going to take a lot of work for them to stay up. Crystal Palace, on the other hand, managed to end their poor run of results with a 3-1 win against Everton. A Conor Gallagher masterclass, and he was absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait, obviously as a Chelsea fan, for him to come back to Chelsea, because our struggles in midfield could be easily fixed with a player of his quality right now. This match is going to be an excellent opportunity for Crystal Palace to pick up some momentum and continue to get some decent results. And actually, I think that they will do that. I think that they are going to win this game. They've got enough quality in this squad compared to the lack of quality, in my opinion, in this Southampton team to beat them. And I do think that they are going to win this game 2-0. I'm calling it now. Edouard and Benteke on the score sheet. It's going to be a striker masterclass, but if we know my predictions, it's not going to happen. But if it does, cool, brownie points. Next up, and we've got Arsenal at home to West Ham, a London derby, and one that holds a lot more significance this year than it has in recent seasons. This is because these two sides are so much more evenly matched than they ever have been before. It's 6th against 4th in the league, and 2 points between these two sides. West Ham are such a weird team at the moment, man, because it's just really tricky to call when they're actually going to turn up on the day. They should have beaten Burnley in their last game, but they were held to a 0-0 draw. As I said last week, Turf Moor is a tricky place to go, but nevertheless, they really should have picked up the 3 points in that fixture, but they weren't able to do so, and subsequently now top 4 is going to be slightly harder for them. But if they can get a win against Arsenal in this game, it's going to be massive for their top 4 chances. Arsenal are another tricky team to predict because they've had some poor results in the last few games. However, that 3-0 convincing win against Southampton is a great result for them for confidence. It's a team that they should have been winning against, so probably a scoreline that you should have expected, but you could have easily expected the same score against Everton from when they played them, and they lost it 2-1. I'm finding it tricky to pick a winner between these two sides, and for that reason I am going to go for a draw in this game. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I would not be surprised if either team nick this, but I can't quite pick apart these two sides, and I don't think either side are going to want to lose this fixture based on how important the top 4 is. Right guys, I do just want to take a second to say, if you could please be so kind to hit the like button down below, comment your predictions to be called up by this geezer next week, and also you could win a prize. As I say every week, there's going to be a cool prize. I just need to think of one. I've been very busy at the moment, so forgive me, there will be some more more clarity on that in the future. Subscribe down below because I am trying to hit 500 subscribers. You're probably sick of hearing me say that, but please, for those of you who are new to the channel, if you could be so kind to subscribe, even 400 would be amazing. So please do your bit. It'd be very greatly appreciated. Anyway, guys, in the next game, we have got Leicester at home to Spurs. As I was going to say last week before Spurs game got called off, their away record has been shocking. To be honest, it's going to be interesting to see whether this game even gets played with the amount of COVID cases that Tottenham are suffering with at the moment. With that being said, however, Tottenham have won their last 3 games in the Premier League, albeit they were all at home. However, you can't look beyond that. It's great work from Antonio Conte and great work from this Tottenham side. Leicester, on the other hand, turn up when they want to turn up, and they just have not been consistent enough this season to really be cementing a place in the top half of the table. A very impressive 4-0 win against Newcastle, but with all due respect to Newcastle at the moment, it is just Newcastle. They are one of the worst teams in the Premier League at the moment, and you would be expecting them to win. It's now just a matter of whether or not they can keep this form going. A bit like with what I said with Crystal Palace earlier, it's a good opportunity for them to potentially get the ball rolling, get a bit of momentum, and see if they can push up the table. And you know what? I think that they will. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Leicester in this game. I think they're going to just about edge it, and I think that Tottenham's away day misery is going to continue for another week. Anything can happen in this game, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but in my opinion, I am backing Leicester to just about edge it. Up next now, we've got Chelsea at home to Everton, a game that always brings goals. There have been 14 goals in the last 4 fixtures in the Premier League between these two sides, so I'm looking forward to hopefully more of the same in terms of goals. After a bit of a dodgy spell in all competitions at the moment, Chelsea find themselves in 3rd place. Whilst Liverpool and Manchester City have won their last 5 games, Chelsea have only managed to win 3 of their last 5 games, which is very good, but it's just lacking that consistency that you need to really compete to be ahead of these two teams. Everton, on the other hand, in the last 5 games, they've lost 4 and only won once. It's not looking good for them, and realistically, a massive overhaul is needed in this very, very dead squad. Mason Mount is in fantastic form at the moment, scoring in our last 3 games, and he's been crucial to us going forward, and it's great to see him finally get the numbers to back up his great performances for us. I think this is going to be fairly comfortable for Chelsea, and I don't think that we're going to, touch wood, have many problems. So for that reason, against a poor Everton squad, I do think that we are going to win this one 4-0. It's going to be a real statement win, and hopefully get us on a good roll to push further up the table where we belong, and hopefully put us in a better position to win the Premier League at the end of the season. The last fixture that we're going to focus on is Liverpool at home to Newcastle. Liverpool, as I've already mentioned, have won their last 5 games, and Newcastle have only won 1 in their last 5 games. They've only won 1 all season. It's been slightly deflating since the takeover for Newcastle, again just struggling for results. Similar with Everton, they need a massive overhaul in their squad if they really want to compete, and in their case, stay in the Premier League this season. Mo Salah added to his already incredible tally this season from the penalty spot against Aston Villa in their last game, and I expect him to run riot in this fixture. It's going to be huge for him, and I fully expect Liverpool to take the 3 points in this fixture. Sorry, Newcastle fans. I think it's going to be big, and I'm going to go for a 5-0 Liverpool win. Liverpool have a habit of sometimes just making these massive results out of nothing, and other times they dominate the game and only win 1-0, so it's going to be interesting to see if it's going to be one of those fixtures, but I do think that it's going to be a big scoreline, and I think that they are going to win this game 5-0. Right, guys, so that is it. Thank you so much for watching. As always, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. On Saturday, I'm going to Crawley Town against Oldham, so if you guys are going to be there, say hi. But if not, then guys, look forward to that one because it's going to be a great vlog. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace and love.